morning and welcome to the NBA Daily presented by Amazon Prime for January 27th, 2026. I'm Dave DuFour here with Zena Keita. Coming up, the Charlotte Hornets are going crazy. They've been scoring so many points. We're going to talk about that a little bit. The Cavs went nuts against the Magic. And then we're going to talk to Josh Robbins about the Orlando Magic's latest loss and what they might do at the deadline. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Zena? How's it going?
Going well, Dave. What up?
We had a long day of hoops yesterday. The winter weather in the South scared a bunch of teams in the league into starting the games early. The Atlanta Hawks played a game before I finished breakfast out here in California. So if you guys were watching hoops all day like us, you might have seen the Charlotte Hornets go nuts. They had a 50-point lead going into the fourth quarter against our Sixers that we've been pretty high on. No Joel Embiid. Only 6 points from Tyrese Maxey, but 130 to 93. The Hornets win big over the Sixers. And I actually think it's just time again to talk about the Hornets. They've been really good lately. Brandon Miller put up 30 in this game, but it's been a different guy almost every single night for them. We talked a lot this season about Conca-Nipple. LaMelo Ball has kind of had an up and down year, but it does feel like he is a part of what they're doing. They've landed on their best five-man lineup, and that's their new starting lineup. And frankly, Zena, Moussa Diabate has sort of been the secret to their success. He moved in the starting lineup, and things have changed for them. I'm going to look at the last 15 games. They're first in offense, fifth in defense, first in net rating. And their best five-man lineup has been Miles Bridges, Diabate, Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Conca-Nipple, and that's been their starting lineup here recently. They look great.
Yeah, I'm loving the fact that when you look at Charlotte right now, you talk about their big three, there's a little bit of variance sometimes, right? Is it LaMelo with Miles Bridges and Conca-Nipple? Is it Conca-Nipple with Brandon? I mean, Brandon Miller's got to be in there, obviously, right? There is a little bit of variance, and that's great. That's what you want to see in a starting five, especially in a young core. And this is why everyone's so excited about Charlotte, because it's they're just one big away from being a solid contender.
What if Moussa Diabate is the big? I mean, they've got this other guy, Ryan Kalkbrenner coming off the bench, who essentially doesn't miss around the basket. They have a squad, Zena.
They do. Yeah. They do. And they're young and they're hungry and they're having fun. And Moussa Diabate, I'm happy you brought him up. I've seen a lot of folks say this, but I can see it. I wish I was with S and you because most improved. He could be in that conversation.
We got another guy to add to the list.
I mean, this is
it's too many. It's been one of those seasons though, where we've had, I feel and add Moussa Diabate to the list of guys who are kind of breaking out. And I think that this is, we've talked a little bit about this now over the last year and a half, where the skill curve in the NBA is flattening quite a bit, where you do find that some guy might be the eighth or ninth guy on the bench and gets a chance. And, oh, wait, this guy actually drives our engine. I mean, I think we've seen this multiple teams. I mean, think about Peyton Watson and the turnaround that he's made this year and getting a chance. I mean, usually it is opportunity, right? You don't get to the NBA unless you can play. But Moussa Diabate's, he's been great for them lately. And again, the big three for them is LaMelo, Con, and Brandon Miller. That's three offensive guys that can get their shot off. I mean, can create their own look, but also can stick the open shot. I mean, that's what we talk about from a team building perspective. We've been hitting the Spurs. We've been talking about the Thunder. And I don't know if these guys are that good. Conca-Nipple could be. We don't know yet.
Right.
But with LaMelo, the promise was always there. I mean, this is the most put together, I think, team we've seen around LaMelo and Brandon Miller for that matter. Yeah. I guess we really shouldn't be surprised by this. Zena, look, how far does this go? Let's just look right now. You look at the standings, okay? This is a team that currently, as we record, is 3.5 games behind the Hawks for that final play-in spot. The Hawks have been kind of sad lately. What are the odds that come April, we're talking about the Hornets in the play-in? That would be pretty fun.
I don't think that's a crazy odd. If they focus on just playing hard and continuing to win like they are, I mean, I don't think that would be it's not a foregone conclusion for them to possibly end up in the play-in the way that they're playing. you talk about the big three, you talk about the players that are around them, whether it's Kalkbrenner, whether it's Moussa Diabate. The biggest thing that you can see out of all of them is just consistency and efficiency. Like Moussa, shout out to the celebration, by the way. Love the Moose. But Moussa shoots 63% from the floor. Does not attempt threes. Like that's not his thing. He's not a 3-point shooter by any means. He is specifically going to the basket, getting fouled. He's the number 2 on this team in terms of drawing fouls. That's huge. When you're thinking about all those other guys that can get their shots and get to the line, Moussa Diabate also creates incredible opportunities for himself just by being physical. You can't stop this guy. His motor is relentless. And I think that that's huge. You've got consistency in the way that he plays in that regard, as well as the efficiency. But then also, I'm looking at this from a perspective of maybe not this year. I don't know if I could see, Charlotte winning a playoff series this year, but they are one trade away. Like it's been since 2002 since the Charlotte Hornets have won a playoff series. 2027, baby.
I don't know if they're going to win a playoff series next year, but look, this team, I think that this team, when you look at the East and how soft it is, if they continue to grow, they're probably fighting for an actual playoff spot next year. They're not going to come and be a 6 seed and beat a good team. Okay. They're not there yet.
The East, with what we know about the East, I don't know, dude. They're so
maybe they trade for Giannis. In which case, yes, they're going to win a playoff series next year. I would say that.
Okay. Yeah. They got to make a big trade. That's for sure. They've got to make a big trade and get something.
Yeah. We'll see about that. All right, Zena, I got to ask because we got to ask every single time.
For what it's worth, I'm also from North Carolina, so maybe I have a little bit too much ammo.
I think there's a little bit of homerism happening there. Yeah, we're rooting for Charlotte to have a good team. All right, we got to ask this every time a team goes on a nice little run. The Cavs have won 6 of 7, 10 of their last 15. They get a big win over the Magic, 114-98. Donovan Mitchell has 45 points. Ridiculous scoring display by Donovan Mitchell. 15 of 25 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3, 10 of 12 from the line. Unstoppable. Like the Magic had no answers. 20 points from Evan Mobley to round that out for the Cavs. Are they back? I mean, listen, we've been down on them this year. We talked about how this season needed to be experimental, but they found Jalen Tyson. I just think that this is a team that feels a little bit more complete than it did a month ago, and that's even without Darius Garland out there. They just seem to have a little bit more of their identity back. After the game, Kenny Atkinson talked about how this was more of a gritty win, and they feel like they've been picking those up. So are the Cavs back, Zena?
I can't say they're back just yet. And it's really because of what you just laid out. The wins that they've had, they're 4-1 in their last 5, 7-3 in their last 10. And the wins that they've had have all been grit, have to pull them out, playing every single second of Donovan Mitchell that they can. It's been a battle. When you think about the Cavs being quote unquote back, at least how I think about it, I think about that team that was on par with OKC last year. Top offense in the league, right? And also top defense, top 10 defense. In these last 5 and last 10, when they've had these great, showings in terms of being able to win games, in the last 5, they've had the 19th best offensive rating, 12th best defensive rating. This isn't the Cavs being back. This is the Cavs being resilient. This is the Cavs being probably fed up with losing games and just doing whatever it takes to win. But are they operating like a clean machine that we know that they're capable of being? Especially this is the core that we had last year outside of Darius Garland. But right. I would say that you found, some nice pickups in Jalen Tyson, even Proctor alongside Donovan Mitchell, right? I think you found some pickups, but it's not quite the same. It's just it's a tougher Cavs, but not the same.
I will say Tyrese Proctor has looked pretty good especially when he's playing next to Mitchell, like you mentioned. Jalen Tyson, we threw his name in there, like with all the other 50 guys for most improved. Naquan Tomlin is a guy that I feel like, Zena, you and we probably text his name to each other twice a week. Whenever he's out there playing, because he just does stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And the other thing is this, like Mobley has a 20-point game, but Mobley in the game against Orlando, he looked like he was looking to score. He wanted to attack. Yeah. He was going to the 3 ball.
He was shooting exactly in the trail position, pulling up, shooting that 3 confidently. It's huge.
And to me, that is the biggest difference in the game last night and what we've seen out of them here recently. Again, this is one of their better offensive performances against the Magic, which, that's not like, this is not a paper soft defense that they scored 114 against. So I think more of that is what Cleveland needs. I mean, we'll see if they've got it. I mean, this is not going to be an easy run for them once we get to the playoffs, especially if Darius Garland's not there. But finding a couple of guys along the way, I mean, we've been giving the Nuggets credit for it and saying that it's going to make them better come playoff time. And I think for Cleveland, having more guys that can fill out your rotation, trying to avoid some of the guys that have been killing them this year, I think that's going to be big for them. Guys, stick around after the break. Fan favorite Josh Robbins is here to talk about Orlando and whether or not they've got some trades brewing for the deadline. The Orlando Magic dropped their 4th straight. It was a big Eastern Conference matchup against the Cavs. Zena, look, we didn't think that the Magic were going to be barely above 500 at this point. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be like a home court advantage team in the playoffs. They've obviously struggled all year with injuries. Still no Franz Wagner out there. They did just get Jalen Suggs back. And we got Josh Robbins back to talk about the Orlando Magic after a loss. What's up, Josh?
Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's the NBA Daily's favorite guest, Josh Robbins. Law Murray, although close second, I will say.
Fred Katz might feel away, but that's okay.
Wait. We're going to have to do another poll at the end of the year and figure this out. I need to know who's number one. Josh, look, the Magic have lost 4 straight. They're 7-8 in their last 15 games. They are undefeated in Germany. Do they need to just relocate? I mean, is that the solution to their recent problems?
That is a statement that doesn't really deserve an answer. But no, this is a team in trouble right now. There's no question about it. And it's going to most likely, it's going to get worse in the near term. They face they're in Miami. They face Toronto at home, and then they go back on the road for games in San Antonio and Oklahoma City. And so most likely this is going to get worse, potentially much worse, before it gets better. And the team has stalled right now. There are reasons for that. We're going to get into that. Happy to discuss that, but they're not in a good place right now. The only real positive that I see is that they've got 38 games left, approximately 37 games left, approximately. That's enough time to turn it around, and we'll get to that. So, yeah, they're not in good shape right now.
And I want to know, like, we could take the loss last night against Cleveland, and I think it illuminated a few of those buckets that we could kind of go into. Number one, Orlando's missing someone that takes attention off of Paolo Banchero, and that is, of course, Franz Wagner. You're seeing teams be able to look at Orlando's offense, and it gets a little bit predictable when you know that you don't have much coming out of, in terms of offensive production, out of Orlando outside of Paolo, Bane. And then once in a while, you'll see the pops of De Silva and Anthony Black, but it's not as consistent as you need it to be. So there's the aspect of Franz missing, but there's also the aspect of, even if you have Franz missing, aggressiveness on offense. Dave, you were the one that called this out first, of Paolo not taking advantage of folks sagging off of him. It wasn't just Paolo. This was the entire team not taking advantage of sagging off defense, and they weren't taking advantage of the wide open threes. And looking up what's going on with the Magic and their 3-point shot, I mean, the 29th in the NBA right now in 3-point percentage. Last night they went 10 for 32. Last time they played Cleveland, they went 10 for 32 on wide open threes. I have to look up what the stat was last night, but this is a trend that they're not offensively aggressive. Those are the two I'm looking at, but then also the defense is a third bucket I'm looking at too. They started this year as a top 5 defensive team, and now it looked interesting last night against Cleveland.
I was not looking at the screen because I was looking up the same stats that you referenced, Zena. So over the weekend, you're 100% right. They made 31% of their wide open threes, they had 32 of them.
Right.
32 of them. They made only 1 out of 7 of their open threes, and they missed all 12 of their corner threes. So a lot of this, a good portion of this is about roster construction.
Right.
They don't have enough knockdown shooters, but and they've been injured. They've been injured in a way that we're going to discuss here, but it goes beyond that, I think. This is an offense that, while limited by what I just discussed, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It is predictable. Zena, Dave, you know the X's and O's as well as anybody. To me, when I watch, and I've watched them a lot over the last several years, it's even seems more pronounced now that the offense is all about getting the ball to Paolo or Franz, get them in a switch, get them in an advantage, and then go do something.
Right. And one pass maybe to a shooter. And to be fair, Zena and I have talked about this a lot with this team. Often guys, it seems like they don't know where to be. And, you know, I hate to call out a young guy, but frankly, Noah Penda at times playing the 4 didn't know to move out of the corner or to lift out of the corner. I mean, these are like basic things that to me like should be drilled into these role player types that you have out there. The other thing is guys picking up their dribble. I don't know a lot of teams in the NBA where you see a guy pick up the dribble when he could get 2 feet in the paint. Paolo is bad about this. They're constantly having to kick out to the wing and sort of reset. Again, there's a general lack of organization. And I expected to see them kind of fall back in line when Jalen Suggs came back. He has been the drink stirrer for this team for the last few years. And typically they seem more organized when he's out there. But last night, it just didn't feel like he had the power to get him there, in spite of what I thought was, I mean, he looks great physically. He had that great dunk in the first quarter. He had that excellent block at the end of the first quarter. So to me, there's just that clunky fit, which goes back to what you say, the roster construction. I mean, does Franz coming back fix any of this?
Well, with Franz back, they're much better, but the offense still plays in the same way that it does.
Right.
And at any one time, almost no matter who you have on the court, they don't have enough shooting. You have to have, and we've said it a million times, I'll say it again, you have to have knockdown shooters to compete at a high level in the league.
Yep.
You just do. But you use the word, Dave, clunky. That's a great way to describe the offense, and not just this year, last year too. And having said all that, they do generate open shots, particularly from 3, and they're just not hitting them at a rate that they need to hit them on to be competitive. And when you're missing shots, the other team is not taking the ball out of the net. Well, that puts a strain on your defense. And everything here is interconnected.
Right.
They move off of last season KCP, who, for all his problems on offense, remained a good defender. They moved off of Gary Harris, who both he and KCP would have helped last night on Donovan Mitchell.
Sure.
He would have helped. Those 2 losses defensively hurt. Offensively, Desmond Bane has helped, but you need additional people who can sink a 3 because these other teams are building a wall to the rim that Paolo can't literally go through someone. He can't. As talented as he is, he can't get called for a charge. And so it's very tough for him to get shots at the rim in the half court with the way the offense is structured. They have little to no ball movement much of the time. They have very little player movement most of the time in their half court offense. And that is, I think, what the 3 of us are discussing here. And yet they could still be successful if their defense is elite, which it hasn't been without Suggs and Franz, the 2 best defenders. Everything's interconnected, but the way the offense looks and has continued to look, that element of it doesn't make much sense. And
part of the thing with their offense, right, where you're talking about not canning the threes, there are too many times, and for everybody listening, if you don't catch a lot of Magic games, you can see it immediately. Usually when you drive and kick, there either needs to be a shot or another pass. But Orlando loves to drive and kick and then just drive right where the defense is instead of either taking the shot. Like, there are times in which they pass up good looks and they wind up with these late shot clock looks that are worse. And you know, I think that tracking data is a little bit tricky because a real wide open shot and an NBA wide open shot are not actually the same. And I do think that their shots are not as high quality as they would be if they would just shoot off that initial kick or maybe even swing it one more time. And again, it's lack of organization.
Yes, and I think they wait too long to get moving.
Yeah,
and
right.
To make their initial
lack of activity.
Again, we're only talking about the half court. They wait too long to get going. They're waiting for that matchup, that mismatch, okay? And by the time they get going, well, they've exhausted a large part of the shot clock. And pace means many things. To some, it means number of possessions per game. But I'm really talking about speed with which you run your offense. How quickly do you get into your offense and then get into your first action? Because once you get into your first action, that gives you a chance to get into a second, a second pass, a third pass, so on and so forth. And there isn't enough of that. And Rudy Gay said on a recent broadcast on, I guess it's Prime, I lose track of it now.
Yeah, I know.
And it was a great point that he would like to see the Magic get Paolo the ball as he's going to the basket.
You're right. As a trail guy.
And movement,
with momentum. And because he's got good hands.
Right.
And when he's got a head of steam and a pathway to the basket, he's incredibly tough.
He gets to the line,
and he gets to the line.
Yeah.
And yet, so often, he or Franz get the ball on the perimeter. There's a screen set a little too late, and then go.
Yeah.
Right.
So here's this is the thing though. Like, I particularly am thinking about last night's game in comparison to Saturday's game. But thinking about last night's game, Orlando started well. Like, their offense actually started really smooth. It was clicking. It was quick passes. And then particularly when you're talking about, Dave, you're absolutely right. When they get that extra pass and they immediately drive, but you were seeing them get to spaces, spots that were open. They were finding gaps. They were in lanes. Anthony Black with the pull-ups, Wendell Carter Jr. getting all the way to the basket. You saw Paolo getting his mid-range off. Like, they were finding the gaps. And then it just crumpled. It disappeared, particularly in that third quarter. And that's when they started turning the ball over. And that's when Cleveland was able to start to capitalize. I believe Cleveland went on that 15-4 run, and and they couldn't stop Donovan Mitchell. There was a bright spot there. There was something there where you're seeing, okay, there is easy offense for the Magic to find. Is this something that you could see the Magic, build off of if they have all the right personnel? Are we seeing elements of a good offense, even with the roster construction that we've talked about being a little bit off? There seems to be elements of good there, especially at the top of the game last night.
Yeah, yes. And once Franz gets back and once Jalen Suggs gets off his minutes restriction, he's still on a minutes restriction, which is impeding his rhythm during the game and making it tough for him to be at his best offensively and defensively. They are a much better team. So one of the reasons why I was looking down, as the two of you might have talked, is I was writing down some stats. So the projected starting five of Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr. has appeared in only 11 games together for a total of 117 minutes. And during that time, they've outscored the opponent by 18 points per 100 possessions. So that's an incredibly effective lineup. But in some ways, it's been fool's gold because none of the big three for them have remained healthy. One of the great aspects of Jalen Suggs is just how physical he is.
Yeah.
And yet that physicality does make him prone to injuries because he's taking incredible collisions. Franz Well, his injury this year has been a fluke. Mm-hmm. He was fouled going to the hoop and wasn't his fault. A Knicks player hit him, landed on him, if I remember correctly, high ankle sprain. And then he arguably rushed back to play in that game in Berlin too quickly. He's aggravated that injury. Who knows how long he'll be out. So, Zena, I 100% agree with you. But one of the problems is that it's difficult for them to count on their big five guys to remain healthy.
Yeah.
Before we get you out of here, is Orlando going to make any moves at the deadline? I've been hearing a lot of teams are interested in my guy Goga. I think he could help some teams since he's not getting a lot of run down there anymore. What do you think about the Orlando Magic as we approach the trade deadline?
So I'm hearing, this is going to be misinterpreted. I'll just tell you, I'm hearing a lot of rumors. The majority of rumors that a reporter hears during trade deadline are inaccurate.
Right.
And if they're written about, at least at our place and at several other places, then they've been vetted. Okay. Sure. So I'll tell you what I think is most likely going to happen. They're slated to pay the tax for the first time since Dwight's final season, I believe. So they can afford to pay the tax, but you don't want to be in the tax.
Right.
Because they're definitely going to be in the tax next year when Paolo's extension kicks in. And you don't want to mess with that repeater tax. So I think they're going to attempt to make a move, I think, to get under that tax line. And one such move that they potentially could make is to try to trade Tyus Jones, perhaps into another team's exception. Tyus Jones was they made two major offseason moves. Tyus Jones was supposed to actually help their half court,
right?
Give them shooting. He's been great off the court. He's a wonderful person to have around, a true professional, but on the court, it has not worked.
It's never a good thing when you start talking about a player off the court and being a nice guy before you talk about the contributions on the court. I mean,
yes, but the alternative is someone,
at least he's not a jerk,
is a cancer in any workplace, and also is producing.
Right.
That's any workplace.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that would be a natural move that they could attempt to make, and should attempt to make, because he is not. Even when the game slows down in the postseason, I don't see any evidence that would work, because on defense, he also has not fit in.
Right, yeah.
So that's one. And now Goga in past years did draw interest. You're 100%, and he's on a reasonable contract. So I would guess that there is some interest in him. And now that Mo Wagner is back, they've got three centers plus Jonathan Isaac. So that is an area of strength positionally that they can deal from. But so I'm meandering here, but I would imagine goal number one, if they can, is to get under the tax without hurting their competitiveness right now. And I think the Tyus Jones move would qualify.
Yeah. I know fans love it when their team ducks the tax. That's what we all root for. That's why we get up in the morning. Josh Robbins, go and read him at The Athletic. Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate you, buddy. For Zena Keita and Josh Robbins, I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.